Hi again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Newsmakers. I'm Jerry Roberts. It is Thursday, October 16th, and today we're talking about the big No Kings protest march rally that will be happening on Saturday, not only in Santa Barbara, but across the nation in several thousand locales. And I'm delighted to be joined this morning by some of the key organizers of the event in Santa Barbara from Indivisible Santa Barbara, Myra and Ian Page, and Keith Carlson. Thank you all for coming.
Thank
Um,
you for having
It's
us.
good to see you
Thank you
again,
for having
Jerry.
us, Jerry.
I was looking back. You were here in June when we talked about the No Kings rally from this summer. And it seems to me there's been a really frightening, sinister change in tone from the White House and MAGA and the Trump administration and the Republican members of Congress in their attitude toward these rallies. And I just want to read you a couple of comments that have been issued and then ask you for your response. Um, the Speaker of the House, third in line of the presidency, Mike Johnson, called these Hate America rallies staged for a rabid base of criminal agitators. It's all the pro Hamas wing and the Antifa people. They're all coming out, he says. The House Majority Leader Tom Emmer says these guys are playing to the most radical, small, and violent base in the country. They just do not love this country. Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas calls it a Soros paid for protest. And the Attorney General says they are organized and someone's funding it. We're going to get to the funding of Antifa. We're going to get at the root of Antifa, and we're going to find and charge all of those people who are causing those chaos. Well, as the people who are causing all this chaos,
We just want them to keep talking, Jerry. They're going to boost our numbers every time they speak.
I mean, on one hand, it's laughable, obviously, but on the other hand, I mean, this is the president of the United States. This is the attorney general. These are the highest ranking political leaders of the United States. Myra and Ian, why don't we start with you? What have you been thinking when you've been hearing this kind of rhetoric lately?
I don't think you have to look any further than Portland, where you see frogs and chickens,
Pikachu.
Pikachu,
Pikachu,
unicorns.
all kinds of people out there dancing in the streets and having a ball. Um, every time Mike Johnson or any of his ilk come out and say something about us being hate-filled or Hamas supporters, it honestly it's laughable if it wasn't so serious.
And Jerry, you can relate, and I'm sure a lot of the audience can relate to this too, that Antifa is more of just a thought going back probably to World War II, dealing with it's a shortened version of anti-fascist. So if we are anti-fascist and we're the evildoers, what's the other side? Are they the pro-fascists because they're coming after the anti-fascists? I think, as has been stated by many people a lot smarter than I, that the Republicans are running so scared of what's happening that they're lashing out in the only way that they can to try and instill fear in people to have them not show up. But the real fear that we have is that stochastic terrorism aspect of this, where people might be motivated because of what they've heard from these leaders to act out on their own. And we've seen them do this against FBI offices, and we've seen them take it out on a judge's house that they burned down. And they even went after the governor of Pennsylvania, Shapiro's house, and threw Molotov cocktails.
And
So,
killed two members and killed a member of
and
Congress
in
in,
Minnesota.
I'm sorry, Minnesota.
And it's those rare incidents that are really a shame because what's happening is the Republican leadership is stoking anti-American attitudes. We wave the flag at our events, so we're we're hopeful that we get a good, peaceful rally, and I think we will. And we're expecting a lot of people. I just got word this morning that those anti-fascist Soros supporting people from Moravia and some of the other retirement homes are planning on attending, and we've got seats for them that we're going to set up near the stage. But that's, I think, enough on that subject.
All right. Keith, Ian raises a good point that, irony is dead when we're, people are being attacked for being anti-fascist. I was pretty sure we fought a whole world war about that issue.
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, there is a two-track element to this. One is obviously they're trying to discredit large numbers of people protesting, but also it's sort of creating a permission structure for, as Ian points out, stochastic violence. How do you feel about it? Are you hearing any more threats or feeling uncomfortable about things? What's been the change?
We're definitely worried. I wouldn't say worried. We've definitely been working closely with Santa Barbara Police Department, and God bless Santa Barbara Police Department. They are so good to us. They're gonna be at our rally with us, both inside and outside of the event. Um, we have seen a lot more online hate recently than we have in the past. We have a lot of our social media is getting filled with trolls. We protest every week, every Saturday, in front of Whole Foods. Lately, we've been doing some overpass protests on Saturdays. A couple Saturdays ago, we had somebody drive up, roll down the window, say that we should all be shot, and then rolled out the window and drove away. They weren't brandishing a firearm, I don't think they were serious. They were just probably messing with us. But that, we don't want to hear that kind of stuff. So we're definitely concerned, but we're not afraid. I mean, we got to do what we got to do. We're going to be out on Saturday. We're getting there early. We're going to be there late, and we think it's going to be a fun day. We're going to be very vigilant, though. I mean, and that's what it's going to take. I think it's going to be 3 years, 3.5 more years of this, and we just have to buckle down. It's going to be a long, long slog.
Myra, say a word about what Indivisible is and who's involved in organizing this and why you're all getting your big paychecks from George Soros. What are you doing with them? Going to the Bahamas or what?
I wish. Um, yeah, I've never seen one of those big paychecks from George
Or even a
Soros,
small paycheck.
or even a small paycheck, right? Indivisible began in 2017 following the election of Trump. And it was originally put in place to combat the Trump agenda, which we knew would be awful. But in that first administration, we had guardrails, and we don't have those now. We have a cabinet filled with people who simply suck up to him. And I hate using that term, but it's exactly what's taking place. They are doing everything that he wants them to do in his agenda, in his hate-filled agenda. And when we talk about hate, that's where it's all coming from, is Donald Trump and his administration in Washington, D.C. We are here to provide support not just to the Democratic Party, but to we the people, because it's we the people who are going to stand up and protest in the streets and hopefully keep this country from going further into authoritarianism. We are there right now. We are not heading towards it. We're there. And it only took 9 months to get there. So we will continue with our rallies and our speeches and our support of democratic causes and our Constitution and our democracy, and we are not going to back off
Yeah,
ever.
yeah. Ian, Myra makes the point that we are there. I mean, we have U.S. military in cities, in American cities, and we have the spectacle of these ice raids with Black Hawk helicopters on apartment buildings and zip tying little kids together. At the same time, the Justice Department's going after Trump's political enemies. I mean, where do you start? Climate or so on? I mean, what are you most concerned about as we look at this panoply of issues that the pro-democracy movement is confronting?
Well, right now, the people who are being most attacked are our immigrant community, neighbors, and friends. And the idea of the racism that is implicit in what Donald Trump is doing. It's almost as though the Ku Klux Klan has got a new Klan leader and he's leading them on for white nationalist supremacy, and he's going after people of color. It's the mostly Hispanic people now, but look at the murders that he is committing in the Gulf of Mexico by having the Navy shoot missiles at boats that may have drugs on them, but he hasn't shown any evidence of that. And I suspect that maybe the CIA, now that they've been empowered to go do things against that government, I suspect that the next thing we're going to be seeing is a land war. And he's probably going to go in with the Air Force first, and then we could have troops on the ground. And it's awful. So first, I think we need to protect the people here at home, but we also have to keep an eye on the horizon and what they're doing.
Let me
Okay.
just add something there. One of the funny aspects of that is normally when the CIA is operating covertly in a country, you don't announce it ahead of time. So they're not even competent at the oligarchy, they're not competently even doing what they're doing now. It's the international aspects of what they do is so ridiculous that every country, especially our opponents, China and Russia and maybe Venezuela, are just laughing at what we do because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's not just them that's laughing at us, the whole
Yeah.
world is laughing at
But
us.
they're concerned for us as well.
Yeah,
Well,
the
yeah,
world,
and again,
world is worried.
it's this two-track thing where it's laughable, but it's also frightening. And
It's horrifying.
I think one of the things that's most frightening for me is that it's so brazen. I mean, they're not trying to hide any of this. They're doing it all out in the open. Just that one news conference, if you want to call it that, in the Oval Office yesterday would have been enough to fill 12 newspapers, in the before times. But I think the fact that they are doing it so openly sort of speaks to the fact that
It's purposeful.
it's
Yeah, they know they can get away with it.
And he's been immunized by the Supreme Court.
6
right.
members of the Supreme Court.
It's the
So
decision.
when you look at the institutional power they have, a virtual monopoly on institutional power, I think that speaks to the importance of mass opposition, mass protest. Keith, can you say a word about that?
Yeah, that is, I mean, it's not the only thing we can do, but it's the most visible thing we can do right now. The Democrats, I would like to make one point, we're probably largely an organization that's full of Democrats, but we're not the Democratic Party. We're not associated with any party. We have every weekend and in front of Whole Foods, I stand next to a Republican, and we talk about issues that we don't agree about, which there's a lot of them. But one thing we agree on is that we want this country to be a democracy. So we're going to be in the streets. We're going to have people speak. We're going to do more events where we bring people in together to be a community. That's one of the things about this is people get isolated. They wake up in the morning and they read the paper or they watch TikTok or they get their news, however they get their news, and they're depressed. They wonder what the heck's going on. And that isolates them. And that plays into the way that an authoritarian regime, they try to isolate people so that they're not, they're not. Can you bring that back up again? Did you print that out, big format? Oh, good Lord. Isn't that a great, have you seen that, Jerry?
I hadn't seen that.
We're bringing that on Saturday, by the way. So yeah, part of what we do is we bring communities together. We have a group of people who know that they're not in this alone, and that we're going to be out there. And no matter what, we're going to be out there. We don't care how much the Trump administration goes after us, calls us Antifa and terrorists. We're not, we're concerned. We're concerned that the crazies are out there, but we're not afraid. We're going to go stand up and do it every weekend, from now till the end of 2028 and beyond. If things get bad, we're going to do what we got to do.
We are really concerned about the 2026 election. Because if that goes south the way they're trying to make it go south, we're in trouble.
The midterm election of the congressional elections, and of course, Proposition 50 at the special election November 4th is on the ballot to change the redistricting process and the lines for California in response to what was done in Texas. But, we saw this voting rights case being argued at the Supreme Court yesterday.
boy.
Could cement the Republican hold on the House. And, when we talk about Republicans and Democrats now, I just think that the political dynamic that we all grew up with, that I covered for 40 years, left, right, conservative, that's not what it's about anymore. It seems to me
that's
it's about
gone.
pro-democracy and this authoritarian project
Yeah.
that is going on. Can you say a word?
Concerning to watch how many people have bought into that,
How so?
We had people driving by our Saturday morning events yelling out, "What are you going to do when he wins the Nobel Prize?"
Yeah. Yelling out Trump 2028.
We've had people raise their hands and say, "He's saving the world," and meaning it, and absolutely convinced that he is saving the world. And if you ask them, what is he saving us from? There is no answer.
Yeah.
They are indoctrinated by Fox News, which they watch all day long.
Well, it does go to this media landscape that we're living in, where
Yes.
or a lot of
Siloed media.
are either in a bubble or getting their information from social media, and its algorithms, which is poisoning our politics. Can you say a word about Saturday and what the logistics are, where and when, and what is going to
The events in Alameda Park, upper downtown Santa Barbara, between Santa Barbara Street and Anacapa Street. Starts at noon. There we go. Starts at noon. We start to gather at 11. We're going to have music starting at 11. We have a playlist, and we're going to have some singers. And then after the speeches, our first speech is going to be Congressman Carbajal, and we have a good lineup of people to talk. After the speeches, we're going to do a march from Alameda Park down to De La Guerra Plaza. It should be real. It's going to be joyous. It's going to be serious, but it's going to be joyous too. Because people get together, people see that people are out there for each other. It makes you happy to know that there are other people in this with you.
People find camaraderie in this, and they find hope in this. And when they're with other like-minded people, it helps us get through what we're dealing with right now, which is pretty horrific.
Yeah, I thought one of the most interesting things that Attorney General Bondi said yesterday was, she says, you're seeing people out there with thousands of signs that all match. She hasn't been in any protests here
It's a
I've
conspiracy.
done a number of photo essays on the signs that don't match, but what do you want people who are thinking of attending or going to attend? What's your message to them? What do you want them to do, and what do you want them to have in mind? Anybody?
I'll take
Oh,
that. They don't need nobody don't need to bring a sign. We have signs, and we have flags,
but
come and
it would be
join us
great if they
early.
brought the signs,
Yeah.
which they like to do. It gives them a feeling of participation, and I think that's really important.
And we have really clever people. Some of those signs are just epically good.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, and you mentioned, Keith, that you'd been working with the police department and Chief Kelly, and
It's going to be a safe event
and a nonviolent one. I know
and a
that's
nonviolent one.
We
Yeah.
stress the nonviolent part.
We asked Pikachu to come and speak, but sadly not available. Still devoted to Portland.
yeah. All right. Well, let me ask you one more question. And I'd be interested in hearing all of your views on this. It's both a matter of strategy and of substance. And, that is, I think, probably all of us have our own experience in the anti-war movement or the women's movement or the whatever. But what I've been struck by, or one thing I've been struck by in the previous protests that we've seen this year, is the relative paucity of young people that are out, people of college age and so on. What do you attribute that to, and how big of a concern is it?
I'm going out to UCSB tomorrow and gonna hand a couple hundred posters to one of the UCSB Democrat leaders out there. So we're doing all we can to get them, to get the students involved. Same thing with City College. We're gonna meet with some of them and get some posters out. We have figured out that, having events downtown is not always all that conducive to having students attend. They're busy, they're out of campus. So we're also going to bring the events out to them. I mean, that's one of the things we have figured out is that we need to go to them. So we're going to have some events in the future out in IV, out by City College, at UCSB, because we want them to be involved. This is going to be their country very, very soon. And
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Myra and Ian, I didn't mean that as a criticism of what you're doing. You all are doing a Lord's work.
Not taken
Or
as
as
a
a matter
yeah,
of
no,
concern.
we agree.
Jerry,
Yeah.
I think we might have some representatives from the high school and maybe even the junior high. We're trying to get flyers out, and we're trying to get actually some drummers and musicians to come help with the march. So we're going to have everything from kids to people from the retirement communities, and everybody should be there. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a beautiful day like it was back in June. The weather prediction is for mid 70s,
Yeah,
clear
that'd be perfect.
skies, Santa Barbara breezes, and just looking for a real lovely day for people to get together and rally for, our cause, which is,
My hope is that a number of families come out.
yeah,
I want to see kids with their parents, parents with their kids. I think it's
That'd be kid
important for
friendly.
them to see what democracy really looks like and to learn about it firsthand. So that's my hope, and I think we will get them. We did in June. We will, I think, get it more now, especially because there are speeches and a place to gather where they can actually hear from our congressman and our assemblyman Greg Hart and people who are dealing with our immigrant community. And I think that's important for everybody to see. So we encourage everybody to come out to this from all walks of life, Republican, Independent, Democrat, young,
Amen.
old, and in between. I think it's really important for people to understand that this country is in trouble and we need to fix it.
All right. Let's leave it there.
Amen.
Keith Carlson, Myra and Ian Page, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. And again, the event is on Saturday, what's that, October 18th at Alameda Park, beginning at 12. Music starts at 11. Then the speeches will be followed by a march down to De La Guerra Plaza. So we'll see you out there. Thanks.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry,
Thanks,
for
Jerry.
the,
See ya,
We
buddy.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
thank you.
Bye-bye.